Hey, how you doing? This is Kai, founder of Black Girl in Dubai. We are here in Town Square with Dr. Habibi. So yeah, got some interesting questions, and it's so lovely taking advantage of the weather while it's still nice and mild and before it gets too hot in a few weeks. So yeah, going to be talking about my journey, how I moved to the UAE, the do's and don'ts, because it was a challenge, but I'm still here and I've got lots to share about Black Girl in Dubai, how it started, the incredible Black and African businesses that I've come across my journey, and yeah, just sharing some gems. Hey, how you doing? My name's Kai Charles. I'm a speaker and I'm the founder of Black Girl in Dubai, a platform that connects people to the Black and African community here in Dubai. So growing up, I was always a creative child. Looking back, it's something that I kind of learned a lot later in my life. But yeah, growing up, I'd always be singing, prancing around the house, dancing, and my family would often be telling me to keep the noise down because I was singing or playing with my sister, making a lot of noise. And then throughout sort of my high school and university years, I actually took up a lot of those passions, into different competitions or festivals and things during my educational days. Got into some groups. I used to do a lot of songwriting, and eventually went into the direction of being a solo artist. So yeah, much later I began to have the confidence to sing on my own, be creative. And in school I was doing more sort of dance and drama, and then later it got more into the things that I wanted to do, which was songwriting and music. And actually music is what originally brought me to Dubai when I moved here 6 years ago. So I turned into a very creative, bubbly personality later in life, but in my younger days I was definitely a bit more shy and unsure of which direction I should go. So yeah, that's me. As I got older and I think got into different circles, friendship groups, I was always part of the popular crowds, but I wasn't necessarily the popular girl, which I didn't mind, but I often was in the background of things. And again, later in my life, I think people have often asked me, why don't you take the lead on this? And why don't you take the lead on that? You never, stand at the front. And I think I've just got used to, my younger years, just being part of a group. But kind of standing in the background and not wanting to have my ideas shut down, or not maybe perhaps being laughed at. So yeah, that's kind of my earlier years. And then I think as I got into sort of university and school, I began to use that voice a bit more, but I definitely remember feeling a bit lost and confused, when I was 16 and I was finishing high school, and then when I was graduating at university. I still didn't have all the answers. I thought you were supposed to have them by then. You get pressured into, going a certain route and choosing courses and, having things figured out. But I definitely didn't have anything figured out, actually. Definitely not at 16, and at 18 and 19 I was going into university. I did business management. Originally wanted to do a lot of creative subjects, but I was advised to do sort of the more science or the safer routes. So yeah, I went down the business route. I was interested in business as well, but it definitely wasn't as creative as, doing drama or hairdressing or anything creative that I loved to do. So I definitely felt lost. I did 3 years of university. I went to Kingston Business School and Kingston University, and it was great. I met some incredible people, but once I finished, I was 21 and still just felt lost. So I think that's kind of what brought me to Dubai. got to visit here maybe 10 or 11 years ago, and I instantly loved it. It was different from the other places that I traveled to with friends and family, and it was somewhere that I felt I could fit in. There was definitely a Western influence, but of course mixed with the Arab culture, and it felt livable. It felt like somewhere I didn't want to make just a holiday. So coming to Dubai, I found it like a second home when I first arrived, but that didn't mean that the challenges and feeling lost immediately went away. I think there was so much diversity here. It also took a little time to find my tribe. When I first moved to Dubai in 2017, I was originally here just for music. I came with a mission to just make some money and go back home, which is what everybody says. I was already doing music back in the UK independently, but not necessarily earning a great deal from it. So I thought I could come out here and just reinvest the money that I earn into my original material. I was already releasing stuff independently, doing the music videos, the studio recording, and it adds up. So coming out here was going to be that get out where I could sing in the sun, literally, is what I used to say to myself, and reinvest that money back into myself, which I was doing, but in a different way. And slowly but surely I started to realize that it was hard to kind of really connect with people on the ground. Dubai is such a very busy, fast-paced city, and it's beautiful and it's fantastic to be around, very, very cosmopolitan, but at the same time it's not always easy to lock people in and have those deeper conversations. So I thankfully moved here with, I had two family members with me, a cousin who was already living here and another cousin that I moved with at the time. And we talked to each other, but outside of that, I didn't really have a massive network of friends. And anytime that I'd meet people that I felt would have some kind of connection or something in common with me, I'd stop them and maybe have a bit of a conversation. I'm a talker, as you could probably tell, so I would use that to my advantage and try and strike up conversations, especially when I wanted to find out places for like hair and nails. I left London sort of looking and feeling one way, and then quickly realized that to maintain that in Dubai I needed to have new shops and new salons and new connects, right? So finding people that I came across, they also were in the exact same predicament, having full-time jobs or, being with a husband or family that they weren't really able to have much time away from to have that, that next level of service that they experienced back home. So in realizing that and understanding that it was a challenge for most of us, many of us were sort of going home, filling our suitcases, coming back, or wait until a family member was flying in to sort of top up, our spices or supplies for hair and nails and beauty products. But it kind of struck me that cannot be the only way that we're all going to survive out here. There's so many people, especially from the UK, that are like me. So I quickly realized that it was something that a lot of us needed, especially the encouragement and community to just sort of stay together and realize that there are more of us out here than we actually think. So that was kind of the birth of Black Girl in Dubai. It was an idea that started as a tiny grain, but after a few frustrating situations and scenarios, I realized that it was time to really gather the businesses and the entrepreneurs that I already knew of, and to put it together. And I think from there it quickly grew into something that many people found to be resourceful. The directory just started with about 40 or 50 different businesses that I knew of, and those businesses often said they couldn't find people to support them either. So it was just about connecting the dots, really, and making the businesses and the entrepreneurs understand that there are people out there looking for them, and we could all be happy together. We need each other. So that's pretty much how it started, but turning it into a business was something that kind of gradually grew. I always had the vision, but having people that needed advertising, people that needed to be connected to other people, whether that was dating or they wanted to find friendship, or they just wanted to find like-minded people who had similar experiences, it quickly had many different forms that it could take in terms of a business model, and that's how we grew. Shifting careers in my earlier years wasn't as easy. I used to live at home in my 20s, and I had family members that of course cared about me and wanted me to thrive and do well, especially since I invested years into a business degree. And I was very educated, and I've come from a fantastic background, so my family just wanted the best for me. But it was challenging because I always felt that I didn't belong in the role that I was in. I was fortunate enough to land a graduate role at a top company when I first left university, and then the recession hit. And I was let go, and I actually wasn't sad about it, but quite a few people were thinking that, oh my god, redundancy is the worst thing ever, and I was actually over the moon just because I felt such relief. But going again into another role shortly after, it was a similar feeling. I just felt lost. I felt confused. I'd be very enthusiastic for the first 4 or 5 months, but 6, 7 months in, or when there were all these massive plans to sort of promote me or get me integrated with different parts of the team or the business, I just generally didn't feel excited about it. The original excitement from getting the job and putting the new ideas were there, but often in some of the roles that I had, the managers I had didn't really want to have that growth. I think with myself or the team, they were quite happy to have things be quite monotonous and routine as they were. So when ideas from the team were shut down, or ideas from myself were shut down, it just quickly became something that was quite boring, and as if they didn't need me, they just needed someone to fill that role. So eventually I plucked up the courage to quit. I've quit, I think, probably 2 jobs in my earlier corporate days. But moving to Dubai was something different. I knew in my heart that I had something else bubbling, whether it was music or just being creative. I learned more and more about myself and what made me happy and not miserable. And I think that was key. We didn't really used to talk about mental health so much, a decade ago, but we're talking about it a lot more now. And I recognized that, I had anxiety and depression, and just generally feeling claustrophobic going into some of those roles, especially where I wasn't feeling empowered from my team or my management. Thankfully, I've had one job like that, but not many where I was empowered and encouraged to train more and do more. So doing my own thing outside, when it was music or even small businesses that I ran in the UK before moving to Dubai, I always felt like I had more creativity and I had more power over what I was saying and doing. Not that it was always right, but the freedom to express myself and to make mistakes was very, very empowering. So fast forward to 2021, 2022, for Black Girl in Dubai, it grew so much so that I needed to pay more attention to it. It couldn't be a hobby on the side anymore. I had to put more time into the social media, put more time into supporting small businesses, have more creativity and ideas for people to meet each other at events, and really understand there's a thriving community out here. And, there was so much potential that if I didn't go full time on it, I'd be letting opportunities fall through my hands. So although I didn't realize I needed to do it sooner, that was what pushed me to take Black Girl in Dubai full time.
Just finished filming a lovely conversation and a really refreshing chat, a refreshing one that I haven't had for a while, about my journey here in the UAE, and it was great.
Being an influencer, I will take that, because a few years back when the term started getting very popular, and even now, there are some unfortunate negative connotations that come along with that. But I wear a marketing hat from many different levels, from the corporate world to having my own business to being a creative and a musician for many years. So I think I'm pretty good at promoting and marketing. And the term influencer now, I take with pride, simply because I know that my voice outside of music has a lot of influence and power. And people like to know my thoughts. They like to know my opinion. They like to understand what it is that I think about things in the community. And I think we all have a voice, and if we use it in the right way, it can do so much good. It doesn't mean that you have to sing, doesn't mean that you have to be a speaker or even on a stage. It's just about understanding your voice and your strengths and where you can use your energy and your power. So for me, I think being an influencer is a great privilege, actually, because I'm able to speak to the businesses, speak to the community members, and just speak to strangers sometimes about the passion, the business, the ideas that are bringing people together on a daily basis. and I understand my personality type. I didn't really used to think it was a thing before, but I've taken a few personality tests, and I don't remember the name of it, but there's one that's quite complex, and you get all these different personality types at the end. I think there's like 15 or 20 to choose from, or not to choose from, that you get categorized into rather. And mine's related more to being a promoter, in that I share messages. I'm always about sharing, to be honest. But yeah, I share messages, I share promotions, and that is me. So yeah, I used to shy away from even the term promoter before, because I thought it was more relating to, actually in the UK we call a promoter like an event organizer of like club nights, and I'm definitely not that. But a promoter of good news, a promoter of sharing, caring, that is me. So I'm an influencer of love. Being a woman on social media, I think, has so many benefits. There are a lot of negative connotations that I think come along with social media, but to be honest, it's such a powerful tool that we can use to our advantage. Many years ago, no matter what type of business you're in, or even if you're just a woman with an idea, or a woman with a family, a voice, whatever it is that you do, you know, we had to pay hundreds, thousands, or millions to reach the masses. Now, no matter what you're doing, you can find an audience, you can find a niche, or even a mass market that really like and appreciate you for your style, your flavor, your cooking, your family secret traits. You know, there are so many things that I found on these amazing yummy mummy pages, because they are sharing the hacks that work for them. You know, it's not being the perfect mom, or being the, you know, the person who has all the $1 million ideas, but it's the person who's relatable. And being relatable to someone in your community or your area is one thing, but being somebody that can share your voice, your message, your ideas, your tips, your hacks and tools with someone on the other side of the world, absolutely free, is incredible. You know, someone once said to me, what if social media was something that we had to pay for to have access to? You know, that audience that you can tap into and reach on a daily basis, you know, engagement and algorithms and all these things that people are often complaining about, myself included. You know, what if one day there was a cap on how much you could reach, and you had to pay to reach those people? Now, in some respects, that is a thing, because organic reach and paid reach, if you do an advertisement, is of course a reality and a thing. But right now, having 1,000 or 1 million followers is free to do. And it's just an incredible tool that I think, if you use it correctly and don't allow negative stereotypes, you don't allow, you know, just the voices of other people to engulf your opinion and how you view yourself. I think social media as a woman, or as a human, is a fantastic tool that we need to take advantage of, as long as it's around, you know. So with Black Girl in Dubai, for a lot of people who are moving to the UAE, or those who are just generally coming to visit and come across the page or platform, I often get asked the question, why Black Girl in Dubai? And it's simply because if you empower a female, you empower the world. So that's the name in itself, but it's not strictly for women or girls. It's just about empowering the community and allowing people to celebrate the culture, to enjoy the culture, and to indulge in it once they get here. Myself, I'm from West London, and when I was in the UK, I was already surrounded by that with family and friends. I had a very stable, thriving network. But coming out to the UAE, whether it's for holiday, for business, or whatever, there's many people who just fall into living here permanently. Again, myself included. But they don't know where to start with regards to finding a piece of home, or just enjoying a culture that they appreciate. You know, the African diaspora has so many different shapes and colors and sizes that you can come in. And I think for people who want to indulge in that and appreciate that, whether it's food, fashion, or anything in between, Black Girl in Dubai is really a place where you're able to do that. So For future projects, we hope to be doing more content creation to share more of that amazing journey with people. Mine's is a Western story, and I've got a Caribbean background, being from the UK, and my family being from Jamaica, Trinidad, and Grenada. But there are so many amazing stories here in the UAE from different Africans directly from Africa, and others who are from, you know, different parts of Europe, those who live in America, those who may be based in other parts of Asia. So it's just incredible to be able to tell those stories and really bring more attention to the UAE, because they're doing such a fantastic job of attracting more tourism, attracting more business, and bringing people to Dubai to make it probably the best city to live in the world by 2040. Their words, not mine, but that's Dubai Tourism for you. I know that it's not a paid plug, but that's their mission. So for future projects, you know, we just want to continue to bring people together through events, through our membership. We have a membership called Black Dubai, and that's really about having a social element to the community, and also supporting Black businesses and African businesses in the community. You know, a lot of them don't have the budgets that McDonald's do. So advertising and reaching people and just sharing the culture is something that we are just hoping to do more of here in the UAE. So that's the future projects, and we're funding that through the likes, the shares, the comments, the services that you book, the advertising that comes through. We have a lot of clients that we're working with now who are loving our current content and want us to help to curate some of theirs, you know, making it more personable and making people see the real people behind the businesses. So that's what we're doing a lot of, and we're very happy because we're being approached by different property companies, different business formation companies, different creatives, fashion designers. There's a whole range that we're able to shout about and bring to life. So that is us and how we're financing our things.
So now we have come up to the 125th floor, where we can see a little bit more of the action and get closer to the sunset.
Something that often frustrates me about people of many different races is that there is the assumption that sometimes Black and African people are not thriving. I think when it comes to entertainment or sport, we can all name, you know, top celebrities or top personalities who are doing amazing things. But on a day-to-day basis, it's frustrating when people make the assumption that there isn't, you know, the well-educated or thriving businesses. And even within the community, this is something that I think some of us are guilty of. Simply because I don't think people take the time to look or to find or to appreciate or to promote what is right there in front of them. Like today, I'm wearing accessories and many things that are in my wardrobe are from Black and African businesses. And I think on a daily basis, when I get compliments, it's so interesting because irrespective of where it's from, supporting a small business doesn't really take as much effort as it would sometimes supporting some of the bigger brands that are already out there and existing, you know. So whether it's a restaurant or a cafe or you know, a law firm, there are so many different talented individuals out there that you know, coming together is something that I've really been passionate about, and I think has really helped to have the traction for Black Girl in Dubai, because it's something that people just don't know or assume doesn't exist, and often, you know, it has the negative connotations in society. So yeah, I just like to highlight that it is one of my frustrations, but I've used it to be a passion of mine. So just show people that there are some amazing people in the world doing amazing things. There are hundreds of thousands of millions of us doing incredible things. And we're here in Dubai shouting about it, and you could do the same too. Wherever you're from, supporting small businesses really does matter. You know, they don't have the same budgets that some of the bigger brands do. So sticking together, especially like some of the other communities that already do that by default, you know, whether you look at, you know, Arab culture or Jewish culture, there are many different things that they do where there's fantastic practices for money, for wealth, for legacy building, you know, and we are doing that in the community, but we could do it a lot more, and we can share that a lot more. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. What's made Black Girl in Dubai successful, and specifically myself, I think has been consistency, if I'm honest. Sounds really simple, but when you look at it from a discipline point of view, it can be something that's hard to maintain. There are so many distractions, there are so many ideas. I'm somebody who's multi-talented and multifaceted in so many different ways. And again, it's something that I didn't really know or realize until much later in my life. And building the confidence, especially as a female, I think, often we second guess ourselves and we're not sure if an idea is going to work. And so we stick to the safe route. But taking a leap of faith sometimes, when I quit those jobs or when I, moved to Dubai, I didn't have anything but 2 suitcases and a hope that it was going to work. Myself and my cousin both had visions that we wanted to be the UAE. And that was it. We didn't have somewhere to stay. We didn't have a secure job. We had to literally get out there and grind for the gigs and for the roles that came around. And so in doing that, it was something that really taught me discipline and focus and the grind. I've definitely worked hard in a number of jobs and roles that I've had, and even having businesses back in the UK. But over that time, I think what has kept me to this point and will keep me going to the top is having consistency. It's definitely been true for Black Girl in Dubai, posting even one time a day, a funny quote or something that was empowering and motivating was an uplifting place for people to go to, as opposed to a negative place, which sometimes social media can be. And I was always showing and have always been showing positive light on the Black and African community here in small business and what you can do when you stick together. And that goes for any community, to be honest. I think when you show love and compassion and empathy, that always wins. So yeah, consistency is what made me successful. What's next? I believe a podcast is next. In terms of content creation, I think a podcast will be fantastic. Again, I can't say too much, but we've been approached by a few different platforms to collaborate and to do some things even internationally. But also there will be some more tours. Last year, and of course off the back of the pandemic and some of the massive ramifications for all industries, it was a bit more challenging to execute. But yeah, we've been approached by a few platforms to do tours internationally, and so we could be coming to a city near you. But yeah, that's just a little bit of what's coming up in the pipeline for Black Girl in Dubai. So for anyone who wants to move to the UAE, I think the first place to start, if you are coming as an individual or with your family perhaps, it would definitely be the smart move to move with a job. I always share my story for inspiration. However, I don't think it's something that everyone can do, because you need to have the drive, the finances, the support network, the emotional, physical and mental capacity to do it, including the finances to sustain yourself. Otherwise, it can be a very, very draining, troubling, tumultuous journey, and you don't necessarily need or want that. And that goes for any level that you enter the UAE at. It's a fantastic place to be, but I think moving country anywhere around the world is a challenge by any means. And so doing that with a job kind of helps you to have colleagues and a foundation, at least, with a visa, perhaps accommodation, and other benefits that your package will come along with, because that's actually quite a popular and attractive thing that attracts people to coming to the UAE in the first place. If you have a business that's already thriving where you are, or something that you think could definitely work in the UAE, I think that would also be another great space. The UAE has some fantastic benefits, including tax-free. And they've recently just announced that if you were earning under 3 million dirhams, which is about 16,000 US dollars, then you'll be tax-free until you are earning above and beyond that point. And until then, you're good. But after that, it's about 9% corporate tax. So it's a great place for businesses to start and to emerge. If you've already got a branch in other countries, it's good to have a base here as an international location. It's a very, very busy business hub for those going to and through the UAE or to another destination like Australia, Singapore, Thailand. It's definitely a busy hotspot for that. And overall, we've always got great weather, so I always say just set up a network for financial and emotional needs, and that way you can talk out your ideas, you can set up everything on the ground, and hopefully sustain it whilst you're here as well. So yeah, if you want to know more, get in touch. Our team can help you. We do relocation consultations, and we'd be happy to speak to you and help you set up your journey for business or pleasure. If you are looking to connect to a community, celebrate the culture, enjoy the culture here in the UAE, please do get in touch. You can find Black Girl in Dubai on Instagram and Facebook at Black Girl in Dubai. And of course, you can check out our website, blackgirlindubai.com, where we have over 100 Black and African businesses for you to choose from hair salons, restaurants, cafes, company formations, event organizers. You are looking for it, you'll find it. And there's a lot of friendly people here who are ready and waiting to connect with you, do business with you, and start a future. So yeah, get in touch. Whether you're visiting for business, for pleasure, or you want to move, get in touch, say hi. Can't wait to speak to you. My name's Kai.